Guys, we are live here. I am Chelsea with Positive Futures, and today we are going to talk about the benefits of enrichment, specifically food enrichment, how to use food puzzles for training, for management, different types of food puzzles, and what you might be missing out on by not using them. Okay, food puzzles are a fantastic resource that we can use for our dogs, and I use them daily. And if you are a client of ours, you have heard us talk over and over about the benefits of food puzzles and why you should be using them. Okay, they're really a pretty powerful thing. Our dogs have to eat every single day. All right, usually 2-3 times a day. And so why not use that mealtime to help teach them, to help improve their quality of life? All right, so they're really, really powerful tools. So we're going to start with a little bit of the benefits of enrichment. If you guys have questions while we are going through these, please feel free to post them in the comments below, and we will address them at the very end. I will also provide you guys a link with all of the food puzzles that I'm going to be showing you today, just as some of the examples. We're not sponsored by any of these people. These are just some that I have in my chest that we use with our dogs on a regular basis. So we'll go ahead and show you guys those as well. So first, let's get started with the benefits of enrichment. All right, all of our dogs, whether they are purebred or mixed breed, have specific breeds in them, and all of these breeds were designed for a specific reason. Okay, so there's a reason why you see bloodhounds and beagles in nose work frequently. There's a reason why you see border collies in agility. All right, all of these dogs have drives, they have needs. Okay, so all of these dogs need jobs. So food puzzles can give you the ability to give your dog a job in their daily life. And when you do that, you're going to see a decrease in hyperactive behavior. You might even see a decrease in inappropriate and unwanted behavior, like attention-seeking behavior, inappropriate chewing, counter surfing. All right, all of these can be improved by using food puzzles. The other thing that food puzzles can do is it can improve your dog's ability to learn. You heard that right. All right, so with positive reinforcement training, we rely on our dogs offering behavior. And when they offer a behavior that we like, we reinforce it, and then it happens again. Okay, so they have to be problem solvers, because if my dog offers a behavior and it doesn't earn reinforcement, I need them to go, okay, that didn't work. Let me try something else, right? That's problem solving. Food puzzles give your dog the ability to problem solve on a daily basis. Right? So if they're interacting with a puzzle and the puzzle doesn't earn them reinforcement, they don't get food out of it, they learn to keep offering behavior, to keep trying new ways to get that food out. So it really can improve your dog's ability to learn and improve their ability to problem solve. The other thing about food puzzles is that it can actually increase their interest in food. So we hear often from clients that, oh, my dog isn't food motivated, or gosh, they're really just not interested in their meal when they eat. They're not a good eater. But if we give our dogs the ability to work for their food, it actually can increase their interest in it. It turns it into a game. It turns it into an activity. And so you can actually turn a picky eater into a good eater by using food puzzles. Okay. It's also going to increase mental stimulation. So lots of the time you might read about or hear from people that your dog is hyperactive, that your dog is young, has high arousal, and we think that we need to run our dogs in order to tire them out. They need more physical activity. But the reality of it is that if I run my dog, sure, I might come home, they might pass out, they might be tired, right? But they're going to wake up from that nap and they're going to be ready to go again. And that's where mental enrichment comes in. If I'm stimulating my dog mentally and physically, they're going to be more tired at the end of the day, and they're going to wake up from that nap and still feel relaxed, still feel good, because that brain is tired. Okay, so mental stimulation is really important in creating a well-balanced dog that's easy to live with in the home. And a lot of the times, if we increase the mental stimulation that our dogs are getting, we're going to see a decrease in that naughty behavior, okay? The counter surfing, the inappropriate chewing, the attention-seeking behavior, because their needs have been met. So it's a really easy way that as pet parents or pet owners, we can do just a little bit of work and really improve not only the quality of their life, but also the quality of dog that we have to live with. okay? So let's go ahead and dive in to the different types of food puzzles, all right? And how we might use each type of puzzle to be strategic to improve our dog's life. The very first category we are going to talk about is foraging, okay? So here we've got a few foraging activities. These you probably have seen quite a bit of. These are slow bowls, and it's basically just a maze bowl. So you can put your dog's food in here, and they have to work the food around in order to get it out. Now, it doesn't matter what kind of food you feed, whether you feed kibble, canned, raw, it doesn't matter. All of it can be fed out of this, okay? The other benefit is it's dishwasher safe, so it's really easy that when it gets dirty, you can just stick it in your dishwasher, and then you've got a clean bowl again. So it's really easy to use, really easy to clean. It's gonna slow down their eating process, which improves digestion, okay? So it's a really good thing to have on hand. Over here, we have a snuffle mat. Now you can actually make these, you don't have to buy them. This one is store-bought. Benefit of these, again, when they get dirty, you can just stick them in the washing machine. But as you can see, it's almost like a really thick shag rug, right? You can stick food inside here and they've got a forage around for it. So dogs that really like to sniff, I like to use these for, because they've got to use that nose to find the pieces of food and then get the food out. The other benefit of these is that I actually use these for training too. So if I've got a dog that really likes sniffing on walks, or I have a really hard time getting them to come when called, I actually use these for training purposes. So let's talk about the walking first. If my dog really likes to sniff on walks, I can actually put sniffing on cue, and then I get to decide when my dog goes to sniff. So I can pick places that are, you know, safe, where I can see all around me and I know nobody's going to creep up on me. I can pick places that are clean versus letting my dog, you know, go into areas that I'm not sure if there's snakes or trash or something like that. I can use this to teach them to sniff on cue and then use that behavior when I'm out on walks. I also use this, like I said, for coming when called. So I'll send my dog to the snuffle mat to go explore and sniff, and then I get their attention and call them away from it. And so I can use these on rainy days and inside to help improve my dog's recall by getting them to come away from a distraction when they're using their nose. So there's all kinds of training exercises that we can actually use this snuffle mat for besides just mealtime. Now, obviously, if you do feed raw, this doesn't work great with raw, but you can feed treats in here, you can put kibble in here, anything dried is gonna be best for your snuffle mat, okay? Now, foraging puzzles are really good when we're trying to keep dogs stationary. So they're really good for dogs that might be recovering from surgery or dogs that have high arousal level and we're trying to get them to relax, okay? That's what I want to use my foraging puzzles for. Now, moving on, our next category is going to be licking. Okay, I already have a video for you guys up about Kongs, okay, so you can take a look at that, about how to stuff them, how to use them. But Kongs and other like rubber freezable toys are really good when we're trying to keep dogs stationary and keep them calm. So if I'm trying to watch TV at night and I'm getting a lot of attention-seeking behavior from my dog, they're bothering me, they're driving me bonkers, I might use something like this to help keep them on their mat, to help keep them on their bed, help keep them relaxed, okay? Regardless of what type of food you feed, it can go in these, which is another reason these are really nice. And a lot of them are top rack dishwasher safe, so they're really easy to clean too. All right, this is a licky mat. These are also great licking tools to feed. They can be used with dogs and cats, so you can give your cat some enrichment too. Anything that's semi-solid, you can kind of spread across it and freeze it. Okay, and they're going to have to be stationary and work through it. Now, as you can see, we've had a little bit of puppy damage. So these are not puzzles that you would want to leave your dog with. We definitely need to supervise them when they're working on these to make sure that they don't start eating the rubber, okay? This is another form of a licking enrichment toy. And there's a few of them out there that have suction cups on them. And I really like to use these when I am trying to work on animal husbandry, grooming, bath time, because you can stick these to a wall or a refrigerator or a grooming table, and you can actually let your dog lick peanut butter or almond butter or pumpkin off of this while you're trimming foot hair, while you're dremeling toenails. Okay, so it kind of keeps your dog distracted, keeps them focused on something else, and it can help them build a positive association with all this weird body touching that you're doing to them. Okay. I also use these for building positive associations. So if I'm going to leave my dogs, I want them to learn to be confident by themselves. I give them one of these when they go in their crate or when I leave them for the day, so that they're learning that good things happen when I leave them. Can help prevent separation anxiety. These frozen licking tools are also really good for puppies. So if your puppy is teething, their mouth hurts, something cold and frozen will feel good for them. So I also use the licking enrichment toys for that. Okay. Now, on to our third category of puzzle toys. We have the interactive ones. Okay, these are super fun for your dog, and it's actually really entertaining watching them work through these. Bunch of them on the market. Okay, but when I am looking for an interactive toy, I want to look for variety. So as you can see, this one kind of wobbles, it bobs. Okay, this one they have to roll around on the ground, and it doesn't roll just straight, it kind of rolls in a circle, and you've got the hole on the bottom here, there we go, for the food to come out. And then this one, right, they have to flip it, they have to spin it, and so they have to really work their bodies to interact with these toys. So if I've got a dog that maybe I didn't get them out on their normal walk, or it's been really rainy and they've got a bunch of pent-up energy, these interactive toys are a fantastic way to either put kibble inside or some treats inside and give them something to do. Okay, now some of these will even, as you can see here, we've got there we go, a sliding opening. So depending on what you're putting inside, you can actually change the size of that dispensing hole to make it either more challenging or make it easier for them. A lot of them too will open up, so they're easy to fill, easy to clean, and a lot of them are made from really thick plastic, so it's really, they're really durable. As you can see, this one has been well loved, okay? This one has as well. Now, things to consider are the surfaces that you're gonna let your dogs interact with these. Some dogs are really emphatic when they start working these toys. So if you're worried about, hardwood floors, you could certainly give these out on the patio, out on the back deck, if you're trying to protect the interior of your home. But these are really, really fun for the dogs to work through. Now, something to think about if you are using these interactive toys is that they do get the dog up and moving, okay? So if you're trying to get the dog to calm down and stay relaxed, I would avoid these because these get the dog jazzed up. If you do use something like this and you notice afterwards that your dog is a little bit more amped up than you would like them to be, I suggest then providing them with something to lick, something to chew, one of those stationary enrichment items to then help them reduce that arousal level again. Okay, so those are our interactive toys. Now, our final category, and maybe the most fun, is our DIY, okay? When I talk to people about enrichment, they're often worried that they're gonna have to spend a lot of money in order to give their dog this outlet, but that's not true. We have stuff all around the house that we can use for enrichment, and we don't have to spend any extra money. So that's what we're going to go through now. And some of it is literally just repurposing stuff we have, and some of it involves a little bit of, craftiness on our part. So let's go through that. And we're actually going to start again with that foraging behavior that we talked about, that foraging category. So if you have any old t-shirts or blankets or extra fabric laying around, you can actually use that fabric to provide a little enrichment. So here we've got some pieces of fleece, okay? They were used to make snuffle nets and tug toys, and they're just leftovers. So what you can do with these is take a treat or a piece of kibble or a couple pieces, put it in the bottom here, and roll the fabric up, okay? This fabric, you can either give them, a whole roll of them that they get to then unroll and find the food, or you can actually put these inside of something else. So lots of people have Holy Rollers. It's a dog toy that is a ball that looks hollow and it's kind of stretchy. So you can actually take a bunch of these pieces of rolled up food, rolled up treats in fabric, and then stick them inside of one of those holy rollers. So then they have to pull the food out of the ball and then unroll this in order to get that food out. You can also just take these and put them inside of, like a baking sheet that has edges on it. So you've got a whole roll of them and they have to pull these out of that baking sheet or a box and then unroll these. Obviously, when giving our dogs small pieces of anything, we want to supervise them because we don't want them to choke on these. We don't want them actually eating the fabric. So depending on the energy level of your dog, how your dog likes to play with toys, this may or may not be a viable option for you. Okay, so just be smart about it. All right, so our next DIY involves some silicone baking things. So this is just a little ice tray, and this is actually used to make popsicles. And I use both of these as food enrichment. So beginner level with this, you could literally just sprinkle food or sprinkle treats inside of it and let your dog eat them. Okay, that would be a little bit of that foraging. If I wanted to make it more challenging, you could put a little bit of liquid in here, whether it's canned food, raw food, or kibble with pieces of like beef broth, coconut oil, and freeze it. And if it's frozen, not only is it going to take your dog even longer to go through that puzzle, but then it starts to work on that licking, right? So it's going to reduce stress. It's going to promote calm behavior from them, all right? I can also use these popsicle things to make popsicles for my dogs. So I can put in pieces of kibble, I can put in different kinds of food in here, and you can freeze it. I even go the extra mile and I'll put a little popsicle stick in there, okay? And it's not an actual popsicle stick. I'm not giving my dog, a little piece of wood, but I'll put in a bully stick or a trachea or a duck foot, something in here that acts as an edible version of the popsicle stick so that you can then pull the whole thing out. It's a great thing to give your dogs outside because it can be a little bit messy, but they get to lick or crunch through that frozen part and then work on something a little bit longer lasting like that duck foot or that bully stick. And so it really does provide a long lasting enrichment opportunity for them to both lick and chew. All right, another at home DIY. We all go through toilet paper and paper towels, all right? Cardboard is an awesome way to enrich our dogs. So you can put treats in here, you can put kibble in here. All right, for the easy version of this, leave it as is. Put it on the ground, let your dog roll it around and smack it, rip it up. If your dog's a little bit more advanced in their skills, you can just take the ends of this and roll it up, right? Because that's gonna be a lot harder to get food out of than this is. You can do it to one side, you could do it to both sides, all right? Now, obviously with something like this, expect your dog to wanna shred it, that's okay. All right, if I'm giving it to them, it's their toy, but obviously I'm going to want to supervise my dog when they are working on something like this, all right? You can also give these to cats. Cats will work through these as well. With cats, I generally recommend leaving them open in the beginning while they figure it out, and then again, rolling the edges in. Boxes are also fantastic enrichment tools, okay? So you can put treats in here, you can put kibble in here, and you can fold the box up. All right, that's option one. You can let your dog open the box to get the food out, or you could even seal it and keep it closed and cut out little holes so that as your dog rolls this box around, they're able to get food out, okay? Cracker boxes, pasta boxes, all work really well for this. You can also do Amazon boxes. We all get things ordered from Amazon, some a little more than others, but what you can do is save those boxes and let your dog forage for it. So if I've got a big box, I'll dump a bunch of food or treats on the bottom, right? That's step one. As your dog gets more creative and it gets better at problem solving, you can start to dump toys inside that box. So then they have to pull toys out of the box in order to get to the food or kibble that's on the bottom. All right, so you can slowly start increasing the difficulty level of this enrichment as your dog gets smarter, okay? You can also make your own interactive puzzle. So this is a piece of PVC pipe with some caps on the end, and I've taken a drill and we've drilled little holes inside of the PVC pipe. I then took my Dremel to smooth out the edges just to make sure there was nothing sharp that my dog would hurt themselves on. The easier you want this puzzle to be, the bigger your holes should be and the more numerous they should be. All right, so make sure that you are strategic about what you put inside of it because we do want your dog to be able to get the food out of here. All right, these are very, very durable. And our last little enrichment DIY item here is a muffin tray. So this works great, again, with all food types, regardless of what you feed. You can sprinkle kibble or treats on the bottom. You can also do canned or raw food. I give it like this as step one, just the food inside of it. As your dog gets smarter, you can start to put toys or balls on top of the holes. So I would put kibble underneath, then put the toy on top. So then your dog has to pick the toy off the item in order to get the food out of it, okay? So again, there are ways to make this more challenging as your dog gets smarter, okay? Now, let's talk about some things that we need to be thinking about as pet parents when we're giving enrichment, because we can be strategic about this, all right? So the first thing I want to talk about is free feeding, okay? I don't recommend free feeding for a variety of reasons, but one reason in particular that is related to food enrichment puzzles is that if our dog has access to food all the time, food value is going to be lower. They're not going to want it as much because they can just go over there and eat it, right? So generally we get dogs that don't eat food the moment we put it down and aren't super motivated to work for it unless it's something really good. So I recommend, if you do free feed, first transition to structured meals. Then once you have structured meals, then you can introduce the food puzzles, because then your dog has a little bit more desire for that food because it's not available all the time, okay? The next thing that I want you guys to be thinking about are preferences, okay? So just like I might enjoy running and my husband doesn't, or he might enjoy biking and I don't, those are preferences, right? And our dogs have preferences for activities just like we do. So oftentimes I will hear clients say, oh, we tried that, but they didn't like it. And that might be true. It's very possible that your dog did not enjoy that activity. But just because they didn't enjoy the slow bowl doesn't mean they won't enjoy this. Or vice versa. Just because they didn't enjoy this doesn't mean they're not going to enjoy the snuffle mat. So make sure you try a variety of things so that you can determine what your dog enjoys and how they want to work for it, okay? We do want our dogs to have choices, and we do want our dogs to enjoy the activity, all right? So next thing I want you guys to think about, durability of that toy. So if my dog prefers something like these interactive puzzles, I want to make sure I'm picking the most durable versions of the interactive puzzles if they're a strong chewer, all right? I don't want to give a really strong chewer a flimsy interactive toy because it's going to be money wasted. My dog's going to destroy it. So make sure that you are thinking about not only what kind of puzzle they prefer, but also their play styles, because I want to pick something that's going to be durable for them so that I don't have to worry about them destroying it, okay? The next thing I want you guys to be thinking about is frustration, okay? The goal with food puzzles is to mentally enrich them. It's to teach them better problem solving. It's to tire the brain so I get a better, more rounded dog. But I don't want them to be frustrated. This puzzle here, this one's pretty hard. Even though it has 1, 2, 3, 4 holes in it, the mechanism that they have to do in order to get this food out is challenging. So this is one of the more advanced ones. So I wouldn't want to give this to a dog who's never done a puzzle toy, because it's probably going to be too hard. They're probably going to get really frustrated with it, and they're either going to give up or they're just going to chew it and destroy it until they can get the food out. And I don't want either of those behaviors. So make sure, if your dog is new to this, that you're starting with puzzles that they can be successful with. If you start seeing signs of frustration, like them giving up or them just wanting to destroy the puzzle, I recommend switching and trying something else, okay? I want them to have fun. I want them to be successful with this, all right? The next thing I want you guys to think about is difficulty level. So we just talked about that with frustration, but I also want to talk about it in terms of each individual toy. So for example, these slow bowls are great for beginners. They can see the food. It's easy for them to get it out, right? But once they get good at this puzzle, there are ways that you can make this more challenging so that the puzzle can get more difficult as your dog gets smarter. So for example, I might start with just sprinkling food or treats on here, and they just have to lick it out. But as they get smarter, I could smear some peanut butter on this. I could put some water in here so they have to lick the water out of it too. As they get even smarter, I could start to freeze this like I would freeze a licky mat or a Kong, so that they then have to lick it like a popsicle, right? So there's a variety of toys. There's a variety of difficulty levels, and that's kind of your base level. But as your dog gets smarter, there are ways to make that individual puzzle more challenging so that they have to get smarter, right? Continuing to challenge our dogs so that the puzzles don't get monotonous. They don't get the same, okay? I also want to talk to you guys about supervision. So safety is obviously really important when we're giving our dogs anything, okay? I want to make sure that my dog isn't going to eat pieces of it. I want to make sure that if my dog is super mouthy and likes everything to go in their mouth, I might not give them something soft that, like the snuffle mat, right? Where they could chew pieces off. Or I might not give them the fabric DIY puzzle because they're probably going to ingest it. So be smart about what your dog, how your dog likes to play, and if they're like to put everything in their mouth, if they chew really hard. We want to make sure that we're picking puzzles that are going to last and going to be safe for them to use. And every time I give a puzzle, especially if it's the first time, I'm going to make sure that I'm supervising, okay? I want to make sure that I can see what's happening with that puzzle so that I can not only monitor whether or not it's going to go down their throat, but I also am monitoring to see how difficult it is, right? Because if I'm not around, I have no idea how challenging that puzzle was for them. I don't know if they got frustrated. I don't know if I need to make it easier, if they didn't enjoy it. So supervision is key when we're giving these enrichment items, okay? And these enrichment items can be given, you know, in X pens and crates. You can give them to your dogs if your dog has free rein. And think of it as giving a pacifier to a kid, right? Or giving an activity, a coloring book to a kid. We want to be giving our dogs these activities to help enrich their lives, okay? So if you guys have any questions about any of these puzzles, you're more than welcome to post in the comments. I'll continue to check these comments over the next couple of days so that I can make sure I get your questions answered, all right? But what I am challenging you guys to is to feed a minimum of 4 meals a week creatively, all right? So I want you guys to be thinking about what types of activities your dog enjoys, right? Because if they really like sniffing, they'll probably enjoy the foraging. I also want you to think about the energy level of your dog, right? So if your dog is really hyperactive or high arousal, and we're trying to get the dog to relax, your dog might benefit from those licking enrichment toys that we talked about. All right. If we're trying to save some money, we're all working on budgeting, very responsible thing to do. Try to get creative, right? Kids love to get involved in this kind of stuff too. So if you have kids at home, help them, you know, get creative and design some puzzles and activities for your dog to do using stuff that you have from around the house. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money to do this. All right. And if you have been cooped up in the house because of cold weather or snow or rain, and you need to give your dogs a good energy outlet, those interactive puzzles are going to be a good place for you to go, because it's going to give your dog the ability to work the brain and the body at the same time. And so you are going to see a decrease in their overall energy level as you're giving them appropriate outlets for this energy, thus reducing the amount of nuisance or unwanted behaviors that we are seeing. All right, so your challenge, think about your dog. Let's try to plan some strategic ways that we can increase mental stimulation through the use of food puzzles. And I'm challenging you to a minimum of 4 meals a week this next week. All right, so let us know how it's going. Feel free to tag us on Facebook or Instagram and let us know. All right, we want to see how you guys are doing with this. If you guys have questions, let us know. And otherwise, we are hoping that you and your dog start enjoying mental enrichment and food puzzles so that you guys have more free and fun time at home. All right, guys, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it, and we will see you guys next time.